I am pleased to welcome you to the inaugural White Coat ceremony of the Hauser School of Physical Therapy at University of the Cumberlands. As Chancellor, I'm thrilled to witness this momentous occasion as you embark on a journey of excellence and dedication in the field of physical therapy. The White Coat ceremony holds great significance, symbolizing the commitment to compassionate care, ethical practice, and the pursuit of knowledge. Today, we celebrate your transition from the classroom to the clinic. To the faculty, thank you for your dedication to shaping the future of our students, and to the students, congratulations on reaching this milestone. May the white coat that you don today be a symbol of your commitment to the high standards in your profession. On behalf of Dr. Larry Cochran and the entire university administration, God bless you and best of luck as you go forth and represent us in the physical therapy community.
I'd like to introduce Dr. Gina Pariser.
I have the honor of introducing you to Dr. Connie Hauser, who our school is named after. Among Dr. Hauser's many attributes, one that stands out is being humble. From a humble beginning to humbleness as a servant leader in her local community of Barberville, Kentucky, at the University of the Cumberlands, and for the physical therapy profession at the state and the national level. Dr. Hauser was raised in East Tennessee by a single mother in a household of 14 people with no indoor plumbing until she was 10 years old. She was taught a strong work ethic. She earned an undergraduate degree in education from East Tennessee State University, taught grade school for 1 year, and then went to the University of Kentucky, where she earned a Bachelor of Science degree in physical therapy in 1974. At that time, that was the highest level of degrees in physical therapy. Her dedication to excellence in the physical therapy profession and her strong work ethic compelled her to pursue a doctorate of physical therapy, which she received from the University of Kentucky in 2005. In 1980, Dr. Hauser moved from Tennessee to southeastern Kentucky and started a private practice in a small rural hospital. There were no physical therapy clinics within a 100-mile radius. So she carved out a business in outpatient physical therapy, now known as PT Pros, which has 15 clinics across 2 states and employs over 100 people. That description makes it sound like that was an easy feat. Let me clarify. In 1970, it took a long time for, at the time, Mrs. Hauser, who was a mother of a 3-year-old and a spouse who was in law school, to find a bank that would loan her $5,000 for her dream of becoming an owner of physical therapy clinics. But she persisted. She is a trailblazer in physical therapy and for women in business. Dr. Hauser is a past president of the Kentucky Physical Therapy Association and served on the board of the American Physical Therapy Association for 9 years, including service as treasurer. As a board member, she worked extensively with students in physical therapy. Dr. Hauser has received many accolades from the American Physical Therapy Association, 2 that stand out. In 2006, the Paul Dicus Award for Outstanding Leadership in Private Physical Therapy Practice, and in 2022, the Charles Majesto Distinguished Service Award. Through a mission to bring physical therapy to many in southeastern Kentucky, she worked with the University of Cumberlands president, Dr. Cochran, to start this program, which after it started was named in her honor. Dr. Hauser will have been a physical therapist for 50 years this coming July. She continues to work daily. To quote Dr. Hauser, "I continue to do something that I love every day and feel I can make a difference in people's lives. I'm truly blessed to have a career that is fulfilling and can give back as well as to pay it forward." Dr. Hauser, we are ecstatic to have you here to speak to our inaugural class.
Well, I've been known to cry when I can't find the tuna fish in the grocery store, so this could be even worse. No, really. Thank you all so much for having me. I want to talk just a second about the white coat ceremony and the importance of it, to you. It signifies a public expectation, and that expectation is shared by many patients who will share their deepest and darkest secrets with you all so you can get them better. And with that, they expect your confidentiality. They expect your dedication, and they expect your compassion. And I expect it too. By virtue of this ceremony, your faculty deems you're worthy to be unleashed on the public, with supervision, of course. I have three quick observations I want to share with you. And I'm an optimist, eternal optimist. Sometimes I shouldn't be, but I am. Your dreams will come true. They will. Real satisfaction in life comes through humility and serving others completely. We shall never forget our roots. Just like I won't forget that house with 14 people and no plumbing. But those three things, grit, humility, and gratitude to the people that got you here, your family, your parents, everybody in the community that mentored you, that's important. Now, when we talk about humility, I want to share one quick story. I promise you won't be very long, but I want to talk to you a little about my humility, which was a long time coming. As a young practitioner, I undertook all the orthopedic courses that I could take. I wanted to be the best because I loved orthopedics. So I took classes under all the famous people at that time, that was a long time ago, who had just brought orthopedic manual therapy to the United States. One of them, several of them, Stanley Paris, world renowned, Freddie Kaltenborn, James Syriacs, who wrote the book, and Steve McDavid. So I learned from the greatest of the greats. But early on, as a young practitioner, of course, I had all this background, and I thought I knew everything. And I remember treating a gentleman, an elderly gentleman, in my clinic one day, and he came in, and he told me he had back pain. Now, remember, we didn't have MRIs, and we didn't have CT scans. We had basic x-rays, period. So I got to be friends with all the radiologists. Dr. Howard Reedy, one of them in Corbin, who shared with me and read films for over 30 years. But during that time, this gentleman told me his pain didn't get better, that it never went away, that he slept with it, that he couldn't move at night. He could not move at all without pain, no matter where he was. So I used all my techniques and all my wisdom and all these classes that I took, and I used everything on him. I used every manual therapy technique, everything I could do, and he didn't get better. And he told me one day, he said, "Connie, I'm not getting any better. This pain is getting worse." And so in my mind, I thought, I looked at his x-rays, they looked pretty clean. I thought, there's nothing really wrong with this man. He's a malingerer. He's a symptom magnifier. He's not being honest with me because I could get him better. And so I discharged him. And I told him, I said, "I can't get you better. There's nothing more I can do for you. You need to seek treatment elsewhere," in my arrogance. And I will tell you, he passed away 6 weeks later. He had terminal cancer, cancer of the bone, cancer of his hip and his lumbar spine, and I didn't listen to him. I still see his face. He even smiled at me as he left. And he was telling me what was wrong with him, and I didn't listen because I had no professional humility, none whatsoever. But I learned from that moment on what it was like, and I learned a lot, and he taught me a lot. So I share that story with you, knowing that you're getting ready to go out into this field of this incredible profession, and I ask you to practice with professional humility. It can only make you better. Thank you all, and good luck.
We'll all be crying here in a moment. I'm so excited for all of you to be here today, but I want to spend a moment to explain a little bit more the significance of this moment. The white coat ceremony and the pledge ceremony are significant events in a Doctor of Physical Therapy program. They mark important milestones in a student's journey towards becoming a healthcare professional. The white coat ceremony is a tradition that dates back more than 40 years. The ceremony was first introduced by Dr. Arnold Gold at Columbia University's College of Physicians and Surgeons in 1993. Dr. Gold believed that medical students should recognize the profession's standards and responsibilities before they begin formal training. The white coat itself has a rich history. Until the late 1800s, doctors wore black, similar to priests and other clergy members. The transition to white coats occurred around 1889 when a painting titled The Agnew Clinic by Joseph Akins depicted Dr. Hayes Agnew and his assistants clad in white while performing surgery. And this painting is said to have popularized white coats among American physicians. The white coat now is seen as a symbol of the medical profession's commitment to scientific principles and research. And the white coat ceremony marks a transition from classroom learning to clinical health sciences. It's considered a rite of passage in the journey toward a healthcare career. Now, since its inception at Columbia, the white coat ceremony has spread rapidly to schools of medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, osteopathic medicine, optometry, nursing, and physical therapy, as well as other professions worldwide. It is now a standard tradition in most health-related programs in the United States. DPT, cohort of 2024. Our white coat ceremony signifies the transition from your classroom and didactic learning to the clinic and the experiential learning required for the healthcare professions. Your white coat is a symbol of the physical therapy profession's commitment to scientific principles and research. In our program, this ceremony marks the completion of 3 semesters of intensive coursework and the start of full-time clinical education experiences. But you do have to come back for some classes. The short white lab coat presented to you at this ceremony is the symbolic representation of your accomplishments. The other aspect of our evening together is the pledge ceremony. The pledge ceremony for PT is another rite of passage that marks the entrance of Doctor of Physical Therapy students into the healthcare community. Each year, both cohorts of students and the faculty will either pledge for the first time or reaffirm that they accept the responsibilities that accompany the practice of physical therapy. This pledge emphasizes our shared dedication to the PT profession. This professional pledge ceremony acknowledges this commitment for each of us, upholding the highest degree of professional conduct in our professional practice. These ceremonies are a testament to the hard work and dedication of each of you and serve as a reminder of the responsibilities and ethics associated with our profession. It's also a celebration of your achievements and a recognition of the journey you are about to embark upon. Through these activities tonight, we acknowledge and recognize the Doctor of Physical Therapy students as members of our PT healthcare community. I'd like to invite up Dr. Steve Hammonds, who will introduce our keynote speaker.
All right, congratulations to you all. So to get started with Dr. McDavid, at Keen's Chop House in 1921, he and Mary McMillan established, wrong notes. So I was told that I had to be professional. I just couldn't help but throw that in there. But anyway, before I get to reading this and the accolades of Dr. McDavid and his history with us, I just want to point out to you that Dr. McD has always been a wonderful mentor and friend, and in the past couple years a colleague, and I really appreciate him. I know the students do, and this whole panel that's up here does as well. But Connie was talking about being emotional, but I kind of get emotional about this guy. And, you know, I know we're both Steve, and we tell them that I'm the bald Steve, and he's the bow tie Steve. If you can't tell us apart, just understand he's got the bow tie on. So Dr. Steve McDavid received a Bachelor's of Science degree and Advanced Master's of Science degree in Physical Therapy from Boston University, and his doctorate in PT from NGH, Institute of Health Professions. He is a fellow of the American Academy of Orthopedic Manual Physical Therapists and a Catherine Worthingham Fellow of the American Physical Therapy Association. Dr. McDavid has been practicing for 48 years with over 40 years in outpatient orthopedics. He has held PT faculty positions at Boston University, University of New England, University of St. Augustine, Mercer University, South College, and also at the University of the Cumberlands. Dr. McDavid has been intimately involved with the development of the DPT program here. His teaching responsibilities here included coursework in professional development, orthopedic practice, and biophysical agents. Dr. McDavid was the contributor to the development of our core curriculum and clinical reasoning framework for the DPT program. He continues to provide support for our program as an associated member of the founding faculty. In professional service, Dr. McDavid is currently a member of the APTA Scientific and Practice Affairs Advisory Committee and a board of trustee of the American Academy of Orthopedic Manual Physical Therapists, Foundation for Orthopedic Manual Physical Therapy. He is also a special government employee of the Neurological Devices Panel of the Medical Device Advisory Committee in the FDA Office of Device Evaluation. Dr. McDavid served APTA for 2 terms as president of the Academy of Orthopedic Physical Therapy and 2 terms as the director of the APTA Board of Directors. Nationally, he is also recognized for his stewardship as president of the Foundation for Orthopedic Manual Physical Therapy, AAOMPT, chair of the Practice Affairs Committee, as well as its vice president. Dr. McDavid's earlier APTA positions have included being chair of the APTA Manipulation Task Force and chair of the Orthopedic Section Practice Committee. For more than 35 years, he has been involved with physical therapist practice outreach initiatives across advocacy, scope of practice, standards, education, regulation, and payment in almost every state. So without further ado, and I know that's a lot of accolades that spans this gentleman's career, but Dr. McD is a fantastic individual, and I can't think of anyone better to represent this cohort as the keynote speaker than Dr. Stephen McDavid.
All I know is I put my pants on like everybody else, so this is my little device to hold up my speech. Okay. So first, it's pretty emotional to be here after being here for all this period of time and kind of exiting. I said to the class, you know, you're at the end of the beginning and I'm at the beginning of the end. But, you know, I would really like to thank all of you in the class for the opportunity to address you in this white coat ceremony. I'm really deeply flattered to be asked to share my thoughts with you. And as I said before, this experience here has been the highlight of my career. Dr. Chatto can't be here tonight. She has some personal issues, but she wanted me to share with you that she's sorry that she can't be here, but she has the same feelings about this whole experience. I apologize for being a little bit nostalgic. As an undergraduate in the baccalaureate program 49 years ago, where does the time go? You know, I look in the mirror and I hear the voice, but the face looks different. It's just, I can't figure it out. We didn't have a white coat ceremony because we weren't a doctoring profession. We had what's called a pinning ceremony. Even though it wasn't a white coat, the appreciation for the pin was not far off from what you're stepping into in terms of your symbolism today. The pin basically symbolized or affirmed that the student was ready to take up classroom learning and transition, apply it to the clinical experience and practice. So I don't think the feelings that you're having now, the intimidation, being scared, questioning one's confidence, wondering if you're too confident, or any different for me than they are for you right now. And those are totally normal. Welcome to the club. In appreciation of this celebration and your enduring commitment, certainly your courage and achievement, I have my pin on today, 49 years ago. In the next 15 minutes or so, I won't go into this and bore you with 49 years of I remember when. What I want to do here is tease out a little bit of relevance from your current growth in learning in the program and review it, hoping that it will help you in your upcoming clinical experience and future growth of your clinical practice and experiences. So let's circle back and first reconcile what you've learned about our profession in terms of how it has evolved and where it will continue to evolve in the years before you. Let's also, we'll call that chapter 1. You say in 15 minutes, chapter 1? Okay, whatever, we'll figure it out. We're going to dissect and promote the value of your educational framework. In other words, look at that master adaptive learner framework applied to your clinical reasoning. How it shaped you in that first half, how it's going to shape you in the second half, and what are you going to do with it in the third half? How will you then adapt to the practice beyond through lifelong learning, and how will it enable you to become a master clinician? Lastly, I'll try to provide you with some personal recommendations as you step up to your clinical experience, practice, and completion of your professional program. What about the history? You guys know the history. We talked about it. The profession of physical therapy evolved over the past 100 years through at least 4 phases, right? And those phases really have led us to where we are today, and today is going to lead us through tomorrow. And you guys, I hope, are going to be anxious to be part of that, because I'll tell you what, if you don't do it, somebody else will do it for you, and it won't be what you like. So get ready. You recall from our early professional classes, we had those 4 A's. The first was the assistant to the servant or for the physician. You know, when we first started out, the physician just basically said, this is what you're going to do. We later evolved into having our own education programs. We got away from the hospitals. We developed colleges. We developed our own education program, we developed our accreditation, and we began to take not just prescription, but referral. We still didn't know what we were about, though, even in the 2000s, and so we came up with what's called Vision 2020, looking at autonomous practice, and really the real crux of that goal was to reduce unwarranted variation in care. And we still see it today, but we're working on it. But it had 5 pillars: direct access, DPT, evidence-based practice, practitioner of choice, and professionalism. All of those things we needed to come to terms with if we were going to be a doctoring profession. We are now in the accountability phase, where we are serving society with interprofessional practice collaboration. We have a code of ethics. We are a doctoring profession. We have our unique body of skill and knowledge that we will stand up for. We can collaborate, but only a physical therapist is a physical therapist. Under our current stage of accountability, you guys have learned and must acknowledge at least 2 significant practice challenges that require both adaptability and compromise during clinical management. The first one is the vision of our association, transforming society by optimizing movement to improve the human experience. To me, this represents that triangle of our core foundation, that being education, research, and practice. We also have a mission, building a community that advances the profession of physical therapy to improve the health of society. That's a tall order, and to me, that speaks to me in the face of interprofessional collaboration and advocacy for the patient and the profession. The second acknowledgement to me is that the practice management conundrum, we need to accept and face it into the storm, and that is that fee-for-service versus value-based incentives is a contradiction. And it's going to challenge your professional reasoning, it's going to challenge your professional judgment, because you're going to be using that to define the complexity, severity, and the intensity of the care being delivered. But sometimes who drives their action has to do with the payment plan. So hopefully we're going to change that. But you know that there's a conundrum, isn't there? We're teaching you all these things about the code of ethics, how to build the patient rapport, how to listen to the patient and be one with the patient and listen to what they want to do, how they want to progress through care. But on the other side, we're not getting paid for all of that either. And there are people above us that are telling us how we must manage our care. So traditional fee-for-service-based payment directed by payers lends the flavor of clinically managing volume over value, which in turn can hinder the ability to deliver patient-centered care. Let's be honest, it's there. And I would be disingenuous to not talk about it. It's not all roses, but you know what? We can compromise and we can deal with this, and we're going to change it over time. You guys are going to work on it. So it really, when you think about the master adaptive learning, this really infects your ability for innovation over efficiency. Fee for service wants you to be efficient. Outcome and value wants you to be innovative. So you're going to see that. And I think right now it's not really sinking home, but when you go to the clinic, you're going to see this. And I think it would be wrong for you not to be facing that and understanding that it's going to be before you. So let's talk about education a little bit. I love this part. I never thought I'd be an educator. I said I've never go to be an educator. Of course, I said I'd never about a lot of things, but here I am. So where are you in your appreciation for your current and future educational and clinical insightfulness for self-assessment and adaptation? A mouthful from the Master Adaptive Learner program, right? Well, I have a model for you. It's called the bow tie model of education. Interesting, isn't it? If you think about how you tie a bow tie, it really, when you look at it, it's two triangles facing each other, isn't it? And this happens in class too. I'm sorry, I'm too animated. All right, so it's out here and it gets broader as it goes out. And you always tie one side first, tie the other side second. If you think about it, when you first came to the program, all of us on the faculty, we taught you. We gave you all the information. We told you how you're going to plan, how you're going to learn, how you're going to assess, how you're going to adjust. We taught you about your own SWOT analysis. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? And we gave that to you. But what you noticed is, thanks to Dr. Delisle, at about halfway through MSK2, we started just letting you drift out there and having to find some things for yourself, right? So all that evaluation, examination, diagnosis, prognosis, intervention plan, and outcomes that was given to you for those knowledge, skills, and abilities were now we were giving to you in chunks. And we were saying, you know, here's a chunk of it, not all of it. And how do you now connect the dots? You're beginning to think like a practitioner. And that's the coolest thing. That's what makes it fun. And so when you think about this, as you're going through that first part of your education, the tie's getting narrower, isn't it? All that responsibility on the faculty is now becoming more responsibility on you. And then there's the knot. The knot is just like, man, that's home base. Because to me, what the knot is it's academic and clinical coaching. It's what we all do outside the classroom when you don't understand. We pull you aside. We work on your curiosity. We work on your motivation. Not that you're lazy, you're just burned out. We're giving you stuff really like a funnel, right? So we help your curiosity, we help you with your motivation, we help you with your growth mindset. We help you learn and improve. We help you with your resilience. Most of you are resilient anyway. It's just that it gets burned out. You can only do so much and then you've had it. And sometimes you just need somebody to tell you that, you know, what you're saying is right anyway. And that brings you right out of it. So that's part of coaching. Then there's mentoring and then facilitating that chunking of knowledge and that scaffolding of trying to connect all that together. To me, that's the knot. And we'll get back to that in a second. But now what's happening is you are now going into the next part of this program. And what's going to happen now is you're going to now be expanding and taking on those roles and responsibilities. The tie is going to get wider for you. So you're going to now have to self-manage your gapology, to use a Dr. Hammond's phrase. You now are going to be planning, learning, assessing, and doing your own SWOT analysis more and more and more. And that's when you begin to really practice like a clinician. But the cool thing about the tie is that even though you're self-translating all this knowledge, skills, and ability, it never goes on right. So you futz around with it. You pull it this way, and you pull it that way, and you twist it, and you work on it, and you try to get it just the way you want it. And if you're good at it, you can do it without a mirror. But the fact is it begins to line up, and what are you doing? You're shifting it one way and the other. And that's just what you're going to do in clinical practice. I still do it. I call a friend. I shift over to that other side of the tie where I need somebody to help me. And then somebody calls me, and I go to the other side of the tie, and I help them. But there's always the knot, and you can always shift back and forth, and it's completely normal. And the beauty of adjusting the tie is it's giving you adaptive expertise. And that's what we want. We want you to balance that efficiency with innovation and be able to now look at it in a different manner, a different patient with maybe some other data, because people are individuals, right? And so there's always going to be a mix and match. And now you're going to have that adaptive expertise. You're going to do your own SWOT analysis. Am I doing the right thing? I don't know. You know, what do you think? I don't know. What do you think? I mean, you left and right brain arguments all the time, right? But the idea is that you're going to have a mechanism, a method, a toolbox to now go and look at patients in a way that you wouldn't have had any other way. I was taught by go look it up and memorize it. That doesn't do you any good. Okay? Okay, so recommendations. What do I recommend for you? Well, remember, and I said this when I started, that when you're in your ongoing clinical education, practice, and your self-SWOT analysis, no matter who you work with, as you step out to meet those challenges, you're always going to be helping others at some cost to yourself. That's a given. And you're going to always be working to stand for the hard right against the easy wrong, just like the conundrum. But when you do that, remember, I started out with this, we all put our pants on the same way. And you got to start remembering that some of you were at CSM. I introduced you to people like Stanley Paris. You notice that it wasn't any big deal, was it? He did put his pants on the same way you do. And so the idea really is that you're going to be working for those challenges, and as you do that, start to think about other people's viewpoints. Be humble. Be collaborative. Communicate well. Compromise. It's okay to compromise. 1 + 1 is 1.5. You should know the math. And accept the differences. Have and deliver empathy. It's extremely important. Remember the scheme of evidence-based practice, and patient alliance is far more than patient preferences. Go back to what you learned in elementary school. Before you took a risk, you were taught to look left, look right, look left again. Well, hopefully you weren't in England or Australia where the driver's on the other side of the road. But the idea was that you checked it 3 times before you took the risk. Patients are no different. And so I would recommend one last thing. And I call it the amphitheater education mentorship design. You know, years ago, I saw this picture in an anatomy book. And it showed these guys sitting in an amphitheater. And there were 2 or 3 physicians, I don't know who did the drawing or the painting, but there's 2 or 3 guys standing there, and they're doing all this work, and they're looking down on these physicians, and you know they're discussing the case. And the students are learning in the amphitheater. I take the reverse. I put myself at that table as the clinician and the patient on the table. And every time I treat a patient, I think of every mentor, every instructor, everything I ever learned is standing behind me. And when I finish with that patient, I have to turn around and explain why I'm doing this and what my expectations are. What am I going to measure, and what are those outcomes supposed to be? And I found that if I did that, yeah, did I make mistakes? All the time. But you learn from those mistakes. But what it did is it made you accountable. And that's the phase we're in right now, aren't we? So do me a favor. I want you all to look at the person beside you. Go ahead and do that. I want you to look at the person behind you. This is everybody in this room. I want you to look at the students in front of you. Guys, we have the utmost confidence in your ability to get out there and do a good job. If we didn't, you wouldn't be here right now. So understand that. We all have the utmost confidence in that, not just that clinical experience, but the rest of the program. So get out there and play ball.
that's a tough act to follow. All right, it is time for the oath of service. So, cohort of 2024 and 2025, you'll now take the pledge, and the faculty will reaffirm their commitment. This oath of service is on the back of your programs for those of you to follow along. I ask that all students and PT faculty rise, and we will recite the pledge in unison. As I enter the profession of physical therapy, I solemnly and willingly pledge the following. I will respect the rights and dignity of all individuals and will provide compassionate care. I will be trustworthy towards my patients and clients and in all other aspects of physical therapy practice. I will place the welfare of my patients and clients above my own self-interest. I will provide accurate and relevant information to patients and clients about their care and to the public on physical therapy services. I will exercise sound judgment and comply with laws and regulations that govern physical therapy practice, education, and research. I will steadfastly adhere to the highest ethical principles and professional standards. I will advocate for the health needs of society and strive to effect changes that benefit patients, clients, and the community. I will cultivate professional competence, embrace advancements in practice, challenge mediocrity, and work towards development of new knowledge. I will respect the rights, knowledge, and skills of colleagues and other healthcare professionals and seek consultation to benefit the welfare of the patient or client. Thus, with this pledge, I freely accept the responsibilities that accompany the profession of physical therapy and agree to serve in this profession and to influence positively the health of society. Thank you. Please be seated. So this evening, the cohort of 2024 will be asked to come to the stage to be coded by their advisor, coach. Mrs. Sylvia Powers will read the names of the cohort of 2024. Please wait until you are called to allow for your classmates to be coded, receive their certificate, and be photographed before you proceed. Faculty, are you ready? All right. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge that Dr. Charlotte Chateau, who is unable to join us today, her advisees will be coded by Dr. Gina Pariser. She sends her very best and pride in this accomplishment to all of you.
Miss Ryan Bryant, she is being coded by Dr. Rajiv Dalal. Carson Cox, being coded by Dr. Rajiv Dalal. Haley Hungsinger, being coded by Dr. Rajiv Dalal. Gage Jackson, being coded by Dr. Rajiv Dalal. Kelly Wright Level, being coded by Dr. Rajiv Dalal. Annabeth Hall, being coded by Dr. Steve Hammonds. Kaylee Mathis, being coded by Dr. Steve Hammonds. Talora Mathis Brown, coded by Dr. Steve Hammonds. Jenna Rockwell, coded by Dr. Steve Hammonds. Dylan Wilson, coded by Dr. Steve Hammonds. Lexi Donathan, being coded by Dr. Gina Pariser. Haley Hall, coded by Dr. Gina Pariser. Taylor Levi, coded by Dr. Gina Pariser. Vivian Fan, being coded by Dr. Gina Pariser. Kale Tanner, being coded by Dr. Gina Pariser. Chippy Upatil, being coded by Gina Pariser. Tyler Ward, coded by Dr. Gina Pariser. Austin Anderson, coded by Dr. Elizabeth Sargent. Caitlin Hager, coded by Dr. Elizabeth Sargent. Robin Petrie, coded by Dr. Elizabeth Sargent. Olivia Sheely, being coded by Dr. Elizabeth Sargent. Jordan White, coded by Dr. Elizabeth Sargent.
And Jordan, that's last but not least. So I would like to invite the president and the vice president from the class of 2024 to join us on stage. Dr. Pariser, would you like to introduce them?
Like for Dylan Wilson from our class president to come say some words. Dylan Wilson is from the Williamsburg area and has represented our program very well, and I'm fortunate to have both these individuals as part of our inaugural class.
First off, where I start, a lot of people's put in a lot of work to make tonight possible. Thank you very much. I want to say a little bit about Ms. Powers too. She does a whole lot for this cohort, and there's absolutely no way we'd be able to do what we do without her. So, greatly appreciate her. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the University of the Cumberlands. My name is Dylan Wilson. I've been fortunate to serve as the first cohort's class president and student government association representative. To begin, I'd like to thank God for making all this possible. We have been beyond blessed as a cohort, a program, and a university. This has been a fantastic journey, and God has provided time and time again. I want to thank each of you for being here today and for those who've joined us online for this very special event. We're the first class in program history. Ricky Bobby said it best. If you aren't first, you're last. Sorry, future cohorts. Every individual who's a part of this program has put in a substantial amount of effort leading up to this milestone achievement that we are celebrating today. We are overwhelmed with the support that we've received from our families, community, and our university. We are very fortunate that the one and only Dr. McDavid has made his way back to Williamsburg once again tonight to be our keynote speaker. So when Dr. LaFay first mentioned that we got to pick our keynote speaker, our cohort without hesitation knew exactly who we could count on to step up to the plate and knock it out of the park. So before I speak about our program, I need to provide a little bit of insight about what kind of person that Dr. McDee is. And he's just been a vital part of the foundation that we have built here in this program and what we want to continue to do at this university. When I first met Dr. McDee, honestly didn't know what to expect. I remember the first day walking in, and Dr. LaFay and Dr. Preezer, they came up and they gave me a hug. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. I was like, man, they just fit in already because we really just focus on a family atmosphere here. And I've truly just felt like family from day one, and I just greatly appreciate that. And I got the same kind of vibe when I walked into a room full of university staff and all the professors that I did not know yet. I was with Haley and Annabeth, and we were speaking about accreditation and representing our program, and that was just one of the first stages of where we are today. So, back to the story. I thought his accent was funny. And I'm sure he thought the same about me. That's until he heard Jordan White for the first time. Looking back now, I can't imagine never meeting him. He has truly put a burning passion for physical therapy inside of me that I honestly wasn't sure of when I started, but I am more sure now than ever. I truly appreciate how Dr. McDee approaches not only the profession, but life in general. And I knew I really liked this guy when he shared this statement. Oddly enough, he shared it this weekend, and he shared it on the stage twice. It doesn't matter who you are. We all put our pants on the same way. At the end of the day, we are all just human beings. I instantly gained a huge amount of respect for Dr. McDavid. This was a quote that my father told me many years ago, and I've experienced lots of growth by applying this mindset to my life. It truly doesn't matter who you are, what you drive, or how much money you have in the bank. We are all created equal by our Creator. I can't explain how great a mentor, professor, and person that Dr. McDee is. Dr. McDee is genuinely one of a kind, and to say we are blessed to have learned from him is an understatement. He treats everyone with kindness and greets them with a smile while rocking a pretty sweet-looking bow tie. Thank you for everything you've done for our profession and for our program, Dr. McDavid. I commend all of our family members who have made this journey possible. We cannot thank you enough for your time, effort, and financial contributions to give our students the possibility to pursue our dreams. In this cohort, we have sons, daughters, husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, and fiancés. The list goes on. We even have a student who moved his family across the country to join our physical therapy family. The same individual served our country, and I am so proud to call him a good friend of mine. Here comes the tears. Oh, it's evident that the support we receive from our families makes all of this possible. There are many early mornings, late nights, and long days that have occurred. I've also seen several of you in our asynchronous sessions online during labs. Our students, faculty, and staff are grateful for your involvement. Thank you for all the sacrifices you make day in and day out. So next, I want to thank our fantastic faculty and staff for all the time and the effort that they pour into our program. We truly have some of the most amazing people on our physical therapy staff, and they fully represent the tight-knit family and one big team culture that we have built at this college. Our faculty and staff work around the clock to provide a gold standard education and the support a brand new program requires. Starting a brand new physical therapy program is a little bit of a tall task. And we are fortunate to have some exceptional leaders in our profession who chose to become a part of this family as we started this new journey together. There's a lot of time and work that goes on behind the scenes, and we are very thankful for faculty and staff who truly care about the success and well-being of their students. Our faculty and staff truly go above and beyond for our program, and that is why they are the best of the best. Thank you to our students who show up day in and day out to put in the work. Our first year of school was very rigorous. There's no doubt about that. Lots of late nights, lots of texts sent, lots of tears. We've been through it together for all of it. However, our students have shown strength, integrity, perseverance, and a passion to represent themselves and this program. Most importantly, our students have been there for each other. There they are. For the highs and the lows. A hybrid accelerated doctorate program is difficult as it is. Several of our students have experienced hardships during our time together. Without any hesitation, our cohort has always provided an overwhelming amount of support during these situations. I believe this speaks volumes about the high character individuals that we have in this first cohort. The going gets tough, and your family always has your back. We may not always see eye to eye or agree on every matter, like skipping lunch today, but we all care for each other, and we have created bonds that will last a lifetime. I'm incredibly proud of the growth that has occurred in this cohort and the accomplishments that we have achieved together. To our new cohort, we are so glad you've decided to join our physical therapy family. Every single one of you is here for a reason, and I fully believe that. I told you that day one. Every single one of you are here for a reason. In exactly 1 year, you'll be standing up on this stage in front of your families and a brand new cohort of students. We are beyond excited to watch you grow before we depart the program this December. This is your journey, and your new family decides what incredible task you will accomplish together. The possibilities are endless. We believe in you, and you will become great physical therapists in this program. Thank you all so much, and God bless.
Next, I'd like for Lexi Donathan to come to the stage. She is the class vice president. I have had the privilege of being her coach, and I have really enjoyed learning about her and her dream for what she will do in this profession.
I didn't get a fancy folder like Dylan did, so y'all get to see my lovely phone case. And also, so I'd like to say good evening, family, friends, faculty. I'm Lexi Donathan, the Vice President of the cohort, and I have the lovely privilege of following Dylan's 9 minutes. And how many seconds, Taylor? 42 seconds. And we only got 10 minutes, so here we go. Dylan, as usual, decided to make us all cry. Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate it greatly. But in all seriousness, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank each and every one of you for being here, believing in us, and encouraging us no matter how crazy this dream and opportunity seemed. And like Dylan, I'm very emotional, so if I cry, sorry. I want to talk about a word that we were all asked about during our interviews, and that word was compassion. My individual interview included Dr. McDavid and Dr. Chateau, who couldn't be with us today, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Dr. McDavid and I might have shared a cry during that question. The word compassion sticks with me, and I'm reminded of it every day when listening to the faculty in a class session, coming to a lab immersion, during coaches' meetings with Dr. Preser, and I got to experience it on a larger scale this weekend at the APTA Combined Sections meeting with thousands of students, PTAs, and PTs. Being surrounded by people just like me, attending courses and events, conducting research, and working hard every day to provide quality care reminded me of why we do this. We chose PT because we not only wanted to help people, but we love people and care deeply about helping them get to places that other people told them they couldn't, about being their advocate when no one else would, and standing up for our profession so that we can continue using our amazing gifts and talents to care for others. If there's anything I can leave all of us with as we enter into the final stretch, be a better person than you were yesterday. Don't forget your why. Keep your cup full so you can pour into others, and show compassion to every person that you encounter. You're here for a reason, so take every opportunity you've been given to show someone compassion, because that is what the core of physical therapy is about, helping people where they are, showing them compassion and empathy in it, and getting them to a place where they can be the best person themselves. Thank you all, and good luck, class of 2024, on your next chapter of this journey.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Lexi. Dr. Steve Hammonds will now lead us in the prayer for the health professions.
Again, I'm not an emotional person, but looking out here on this cohort and seeing them sitting there in their white coats and just knowing where they started and where they are now, it's been a great honor to be a part of that and see that growth. If you would, let us pray. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come before you with our hearts filled with gratitude and reverence as these Doctor of Physical Therapy students prepare to enter the next phase of their education. We lift them up in prayer. Bless their hands, O Lord, that they may become instruments of your healing grace. May their touch bring comfort to the afflicted, strength to the weak, and hope to the despairing. Guide their hands with wisdom and skill so that they may alleviate pain and restore mobility to those in need. Grant them compassionate hearts, O Lord, that they may see each of their patients as your beloved child, deserving of dignity and respect. Fill them with empathy and understanding, that they may minister not only to the body, but also to the soul. Protect them, O Lord, from discouragement. Give them perseverance in the face of challenges, and remind them of the profound impact their work will have on the lives of others. Finally, Lord, I ask that your blessing be upon the remaining studies and future careers. May they always seek to serve you in all they do, bringing glory to your name through their dedication to providing the highest level of care to those who have entrusted them to do so. I ask this in the name of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and amen.
Class of 2024, congratulations. Thank you to both classes of DPT students. You took the pledge, you donned your white coats, and you've met these important benchmarks along the way. And you've done this in front of witnesses that love and care about each of you as you've accepted that obligation. The faculty and members of the University of the Cumberlands and all the guests here this evening will continue to assist and support you in all the best ways that we can. So again, congratulations. On behalf of the faculty and students, I would like to extend our thanks to parents, spouses, significant others, and friends for their support of the students. Please join us for refreshments and an opportunity to mingle and share our enthusiasm and pride in these wonderful students. And for those joining us online, thank you for sharing this experience with us, and good night. If the class of 24 and 25 would stay just for a few moments, we're going to take some pictures. And for the rest of you, you may stay as well, or you can head on out and start enjoying the reception, and we'll have your loved ones out to you shortly.